Alright, plant homies, good morning. I don't know if you could tell it was morning, but it's pretty early for me at least. It's like 8 a.m., maybe 7 a.m. I didn't even check the clocks yet, but you can tell maybe my hair's a little messed up still. Just rolled out of bed, ordered a new plant from Thailand, and decided I need to make some top cuts on one of my rare monsteras. I just sold another one. You can see here. This is well, I don't know if you can see, but if you can't, I'll give you a little close up. It's a white tears mint Monstera. I just sold that top cut and decided, all right, I have a little bit of room. I'm gonna get something that I've wanted for a while, but I've kind of been skeptical about buying. So we'll do a video on that in the near future. But today, I think we're gonna cut either the ocean mint or the Flamicito. I still haven't decided yet. I think the Flamicito is what I'm gonna choose because it's a little root bound. And maybe I'll do both today and make two separate videos. But yeah, let's get into it. That is the white tears I'm selling, just for a little close up. It's pretty cool. I also have this one leaf cut available. I don't know if I'm gonna sell it till it has new growth because it has a pretty small node. I'm pretty sure it will start to grow. But yeah, I sold this bad boy. And so I decided I got some space, might as well cut another one. I think this bad boy, the Monstera Flamicito, is what we're gonna cut today. You can see the bottom leaf here is kind of getting some brown and turning yellow. It is very root bound. I don't know if you can see, so I think that is the plant we're gonna cut. Maybe the ocean mint over there, but we'll have to do a separate video. Look, we got the ocean mint Adansonii, we got the ocean mint Monstera, but you can see that one has a yellow leaf dying at the bottom too because it is very root bound. Alright guys, so I decided to cut the Flamicito. It's super root bound and I've been letting it sit in water too much, so the bottom roots got a little bit rotted, I think. We'll have to check it out. But here is the Flamicito. It's a very cool Monstera cultivar, and it has some mutated leaves, some super cool colors. It's like almost a green on green. This one has a little bit of elbow splash kind of. You can see there's little white freckles on it. I'm gonna try and get one top cut and maybe a single leaf cut. You can see there's some monster roots coming out of the pot here. So we'll see what we can do here. First step is to get it unpotted and see what we're working with the roots. All right, here's a little close-up of the Flamicito before I chop it up. You can definitely see the variegation now. Here's the little elbow spot I was talking about. I think there's a couple spots like that. You can see the leaf on under there booming. But yeah, it's super root bound, so it's definitely time for a repot. I definitely waited a little bit too long, you know what I'm saying? Here's a new leaf coming in. Super cool. But yeah, time to chop her up. My freaking green on green Jopia is getting huge, keeps getting in the way. All right, but yeah, so the first step you wanna do when you are taking a top cut or repotting, actually not even taking a top cut, when you're repotting a Monstera, is you want to take it out of the pot and check the roots and see what you're working with. You want to remove any rotted roots or like soft, mushy black roots or anything that smells. You'll see if you have bad root rot, it will have a distinct odor, if you know what I'm talking about. So the first step we will do is get this out of the pot and check out the old roots. Sometimes it can be a little difficult when they're super root bound. What I like to do is squeeze the pot all the way around and then give it a nice little, that's a weird little thing to do there, but give it a nice little hit on the side all the way around, and that will loosen up any of the roots in there and make it a lot easier to get out of the old pot. So let's get started. So step one is completed. As you can see here, it was definitely a little bit root bound, you know what I'm saying? I don't really like to let them get root bound, but I've been a little bit lazy, so what can you do? But I'm gonna get some of the rocks out of here and then give you guys a little close up of what it looks like. You can see it's nice and mature in here. We got some sick little moss growth, you know what I'm talking about? But yeah, let me clean this up and then give you guys a little close up of what she looks like. All right, a little close up. One thing I do like to do is go outside and spray the roots with a hose, like a very hard, almost jet. It's called Full on my nose hosel, but it's basically a really hard spray just to help knock off all the dead roots and all the stuff that's built up in there over the months. But as you can see, mostly all healthy roots. Also, don't be afraid if you break a little bit of roots off. I noticed some of my customers and friends getting into houseplants are always like, oh, we can't disturb the roots. But especially plants like Monstera and Anthurium that have super thick, robust roots like this. They do get a little bit thinner feeder roots, but these can break off, especially when you're chopping up the plant, and it's no big deal. Here's a better little close-up. You can see some new roots forming here. Pretty much no rot. Just at the very bottom roots, you can see some new rootage forming here, new roots here. So when you grow in a mineral-based soil like lava rock or perlite and pumice, you pretty much have all healthy, beautiful roots. You can see the cutting here. This is the original cutting. Got it from Thailand as one leaf a while back. You can see the nodes stack pretty tight on this bad boy. I don't know how well you can see it, but might be interesting to cut. So one more thing I wanted to mention about the Flamicito. I wouldn't necessarily say you need to be an advanced grower to have one of these, but it's definitely not easy. I guess I would classify it more as like an intermediate growing plant. The Monsteras and also other plants pretty much that have these weird mutated shaped leaves, as you could see here, they're a little bit harder to grow because when they come out of the sheath on the stem, sometimes they can get a little stuck, and a lot of people get really nervous to pull them out of the sheath. But once you get used to it, it's really not a big deal, and you can pretty much do it even with normal plants. But yeah, if you're like nervous about messing with the new leaves at all, I would suggest wait on getting one of these plants, because these mutated leaves, they can come out a little awkward. This one's not so bad. Like I was saying, it's not like advanced or anything, but it's definitely a little nerve-wracking and can be a little difficult if you're just first getting into it. So if you get nervous with new leaves, definitely wait on getting yourself a Flamicito. It's almost December 2025, and these are still pretty pricey anyways, so I'm guessing if you're willing to fork up the money for one of these bad boys, then you're probably an advanced or at least intermediate grower. Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm gonna show the cutting of it because I still gotta work out the filming of plants and all that, but we'll see if I can get a good view and show you guys exactly how we cut this. One thing I can suggest when you're taking a top cut with Monstera is try and get at least 3 roots in there. It makes the cutting and the transfer into its own pot just a little easier. Sometimes when you take a cutting, the bottom leaves can brown off a little bit, and I know that makes people a little bit nervous. So you want to try and have some roots. One thing we can discuss in future videos is air layering plants. That definitely helps. But yeah, now I'm just rambling. Let's see if we can get a close-up and show you how to cut these bad boys up. All right, so here is the stem of the plant. You can see where each leaf comes out, there's a node. And this is a little more advanced video, so if you don't know what a node is, maybe do some research, but we'll have to talk about that more in some other videos. But you can see there's a node here, and each node has a root and a leaf. So you basically want to cut in between the node, but still include the leaf. When you grow in high light, these stems grow super compact, and the nodes are super stacked like this. So it's kind of hard to get scissors in between there. So sometimes you'll have to use a scalpel, but I think I'll make a cut around here, maybe here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it on camera by myself, but here's a good example of a node, and then you can see the leaf coming out and the little root popping out. And here's from behind. You can see 1 node, 2 node, 3 node. So we'll try and clean it up a little bit and get our knife in there. I think I might have to use a scalpel for this one. I'm gonna check it out and then I'll show you what it looks like probably after I cut it. Like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to cut it on film because this bad boy is kind of expensive and I don't wanna mess it up. All right, so I couldn't separate all the nodes I wanted. I ended up getting this 4-leaf top cut. So someone's probably gonna get a good deal. You can see there is where I cut it. Of course, it's not focusing for some reason. There we go. So there you can see is where I cut it. We got 1 root, 2 root, 3 root. You can see we got a few nodes on there and 4 leaves like I was saying. So we'll have to take pictures of this bad boy and get it up online. I'll try and get some better video of it just to show you guys. Here's the butt cut. Still got this 1 leaf left. This was the one that was kind of dying, but it should hold on long enough until we get some new growth. We got all these roots still left on here. So we'll get both of these potted up and then I will show you more video of that. Here's the cut site. I usually don't really put any cinnamon or anything like that. I just get some distilled or RO water and give it a nice blast and try and clean out the cut. And it usually heals by itself pretty nice. All right guys, here is a better view of the Flamicito after I cut it. I brought it outside so you can get some natural light and see the variegation and all these crazy shaped leaves. Here's the 4th leaf hiding under there. But yeah, looks freaking beautiful. Check her out. This is my favorite leaf because it's so mutated. I don't know what it looks like, just like a little monster of a Monstera. But yeah, check it out. Here's the Flamicito in all its glory. You can see the pot booming. The last thing I like to do for these guys is give them a little shower in RO water and then treat them for bugs just to make sure everything is all good. I'll give you guys a little fast-paced video of that, but yeah, this is one of my favorite Monsteras out there. Booming. All right, so like I was saying, the last thing I like to do is treat them for bugs. I like to use this Captain Jack's Dead Bug. You can read the label there, see what's in it and everything. But whatever you like to use is pretty good. Doesn't really matter. I just like to give it a little precautionary spray, you know what I'm saying? So we'll give it a nice spray down on all the leaves, front and back, till it's nice and dripping. Even the new leaf gets a nice big spray. All right, and the last thing I like to do is just drench it in RO water. I already rinsed out the pot with just bath water, just tap water, but now I rinse it out with RO water just to get it nice and squeaky clean. Then I will give it a light fertilize and put it up for sale. You don't want to put the water on the plant just through the soil because we just treat it for bugs and we don't want to rinse off the bug spray. So yeah, there we get a nice little drench with the RO water. And then like I said, we'll give it a little bit of fertilizer and call it done. One last thing I want to mention is if you do treat it for bug spray, you want to leave the leaves soaking wet, but you don't want to put it back under the grow light. You want to make sure all that dries off first. I usually leave it for about a day and then put it back under the grow light. But yeah, here we go. Just a little fertilizer to soak the roots. Some people use Super Thrive after they repot, which is also good. I just use the fertilizer I use on all my other plants because it has a little root booster in it. And you want to give the roots a little bit of energy. Then the next day sometimes, depending how the plant looks, I will spray the leaves with liquid silica. Most plants can absorb the silica through the leaves and it kind of just helps give them a little boost since they don't have as much as roots as they used to have. But yeah, let's let it chill for a while and then get it back in my room a little bit later. All right, got a nice big new pot. I think this is a 10 or a 12 inch pot. to repot the old butt cut in, give the roots a little more room than they used to have. And the last thing I want to mention before I end the video is that I think I don't have any scientific backing of this. I haven't really looked into it online or anything, but this is something I always do. I kind of learned it from repotting bonsai back in the day and just doing a little bit of research and critical thinking. I like to use a little bit of the old media, some of that mycorrhizae or whatever, that stuff they include in soil. I don't really buy it. I don't think it really works because the mycorrhizae, or however you say it, is if you do some research on it, it's very plant specific. They say there's a couple kinds that all the plants can use or whatever, but I believe that from the research, what I've done at least, is that the mycorrhizae is very plant specific, like I was saying, so it takes a little bit of time to develop when you use completely new soil. But if you add a little bit of old soil, especially if you have like lava rock where the mycorrhizae can grow on, or just regular plain soil, if you include a little bit of that in your new soil, I think that it can give the new soil a little jump start and help the roots grow a little bit faster. But yeah, just make sure if you're using like lava rock or anything like that, you don't use lava rock that has dead roots on it or decaying roots. You want to pick out some nice clean rocks. I would add a layer of new soil, then throw in like a little handful of the old stuff, nice and clean though, not the decaying roots like I was saying. But pick out some nice particles that you can throw in there, put those in, put the plant, and then put some new soil on top of it, just so you can give that natural mycorrhizae a chance to replenish itself a lot quicker than if you're just using completely new soil, especially after you give the roots a big rinse. And just make sure you pick out any dead roots that you see. You'll always have a little bit. And like I said, don't be afraid to break some. I usually cut some off. This one I don't think I'll have to cut any off because it's going in a nice big new pot, and they look pretty darn good from what I can see. All right, plant homies, we pretty much got her nice and repotted. You can see there, I'm gonna have to go downstairs and rinse off some more rocks. These big old 10 or 12 inch pots sure do take a lot of media to fill them up with, but it's just gonna give more room for the roots to grow, you know what I'm saying? So it's totally worth it in the end. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video for now. I don't think I'm gonna repot the ocean mint in a video because it desperately needs a repot, and I ran out of room on my camera and I'm pretty tired, so I just want to get that done and over with. But I promise we'll do some more Monstera cutting videos in the near future. I know a lot of people love Monsteras and they love to get as much information as they can about them. I'm not an expert in anything, but I do have a good amount of experience with Monsteras, and I love to share that with you guys. So yeah, peace out for now, plant homies. I hope you enjoy the video. If you have any suggestions, comment down below. Also, if you live in Southern California and you want to show off your grow space, if you have a greenhouse or if you have a room like me, or maybe a cool front yard with some awesome tropical fruit trees or anything like that, hit me up. I will gladly come do a video at your spot. I want to share gardening with everyone on the internet, and not just my location and my plants. I want to share everyone's plants with everybody out there. So if you have a cool grow space and you live in Southern California, hit me up and I will come film it with you. Maybe I can give you a cool plant cutting or whatever. But yeah, hit me up, and peace out for now, plant homies.